good day everyone. I am teacher Jindy, and at this moment I am going to discuss what is scoring rubrics. So there are lots of people who give their own definition about scoring rubrics. We have three persons. First, she defines the scoring rubrics as a coherent set of criteria for students' work that includes descriptions of levels of performance quality on the criteria. Next, we have Macmillan 2007. He defines scoring rubrics as a scoring guide that uses criteria to differentiate between levels of students' proficiency. And last, we have Popham 2011. He describes scoring rubrics as the scoring procedures for judging students' responses to performance tasks. Nais lamang ipahiwatig nila Brookhart, Macmillan, and Popham that scoring rubrics is an assessment tool that we are going to use for evaluating students' written output, products, and performance-based tasks. In other words, scoring rubrics is one of our guides for giving scores and grades effectively and immediately quantifying the scores or performances of our students. We should always remember that in giving grades, we should always base it on the criteria that the evaluator or a teacher made. For example, in giving a performance task or written output about making essay, some teacher preferred o mas binabasihan nila ang tamang struktura ng pangungusap. Yun yung pinagbabasihan nila sa kanilang criteria. And the other teacher used preferred those criteria for essay that are if nakakapanghikayat ba o hindi yung iyong sanaysay na ginawa. But we need those or both of those criteria to know if that essay is effective or not. Okay? And then in that way we can make an objective type of rubrics which will help us to avoid being biased. Okay, and in grading a rubric must based on the performance, not on the performers. It means that we as a teacher should rate them based on how they performed the performance, not the one who performed. Now let's proceed to the four different parts of scoring rubrics. First, we have task description. Second, criteria or components. Third, scoring or scale. And lastly, description of the performance quality. When we say task description, in this part of scoring rubrics, dito na makikita kung ano yung mga description, dito na ang description kung ano yung gusto mong ipapagawa ng iyong mga estudyante at what are the expected product na ipapagawa mo sa inyong mga students. For example, if you were going to describe or the student's performance, if it is role-playing, talumpati, tula, or journals, and a lot more, and there are a lot of performances, And the next is the criteria or components. When we say criteria or components, these are the factors that you want to find about their performances, about their performance. So for example, your criteria is all about in making essay. The factors that are, for example, are such as originality, creativity, and that's the criteria or the components. Second is the scale scoring. In this part, we have two types, the quantitative and qualitative. When we say quantitative, the example of it are the 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And in qualitative, we have novice, beginner, and distinguished. So that is the example of scale scoring. Dito na makikita kung ilan yung i-rate mo sa students mo. Okay, then the fourth and last is the description of the performance quality. This is the description, for example, what I've said earlier, no, the originality or creativity. When we say creativity for 5 points, in creativity, nagpapakita yung mga estudyante talaga ng creativity as originality naman, pinapakita talaga na ang kanilang essay ay original talaga, na sarili lang ginawa, hindi lamang kinokopya doon sa mga nakikita nila sa internet. So, yun yung mga 4 different parts of scoring rubrics. And now, we are going to identify if nalaman nyo ba, or if you really understand what are the different parts of scoring rubrics. Now, that is the task description. This is the criteria components. The third one is the scale scoring. And lastly, the description. And lastly, the description of performance task.
So one of the types of rubrics is analytical rubrics, which resembles a grid with the criteria for product listed, a student in the leftmost column, and with levels of performance listed across the top row, often using numbers and or descriptive tags. The cells within the center of the rubric may be left blank or may contain descriptions of what the specified criteria look like for each level of performance. When scoring with an analytical rubric, each of the criteria is scored individually. So, in simple words, this type of rubric gives detailed feedback on specific aspects of a student's performance rather than just a single overall score. So, one of the good things about this criteria is that it provides clear expectations component of the task. It also allows students to identify strengths and areas for improvement. Also, one of the types of rubrics is the holistic rubrics, which consist of a single scale with all criteria to be included in the evaluation being considered together. Example, clarity and mechanics. So I think this type of rubrics is one of the easiest form of rubrics compared to the other rubrics, like the analytical rubrics or the analytics rubrics, which is I think the opposite one, because the criteria of that rubrics is scored individually, while this type of rubric, the holistic, all the criteria is scored all at once.
Good day everyone, I am Michael Gomez and I'm the one who'll be discussing the developmental rubric. So what is a developmental rubric? So a developmental rubric is a type of assessment tool used to track and evaluate a student's progress over time. So unlike traditional rubrics that focused on assigning a final grade or a score, developmental rubrics emphasize the process of learning and growth. So this rubric provides specific feedback on strengths and weaknesses, guiding students towards improvement. So instead of simply judging a final product, they chart the development of skills or understanding or highlighting areas where the students excels and areas needing further attention. So this allows educators to tailor instruction and support to meet individual students' needs. So it's fostering continuous progress and improvement. So the focus is the journey of learning, not just a destination. So now let's proceed on the checklist. Checklist rubric. So, what is a checklist rubric? So, a checklist rubric is a simplified type of rubric that uses a series or the series of yes or no. So, yes or no criteria is to assess students' work performance. So, instead providing multiple levels of performance like excellence, good, fair, or poor, a checklist rubric is simply indicating whether each specific element is present or absent. So this makes it easy to use and understand, but it also means that it provides less detailed feedback than a more complex rubric. So to achieve a comprehensive assessment checklist, to accept comprehensive assessment checklist rubric often contains many individual items, resulting in a longer list compared to any other rubrics. So any other types of rubrics.
Good day, everyone. I am assigned to tackle about the keys to developing strong scoring rubrics. First is align evaluative criteria with the learning objectives. Now, this is one of the important matters, especially in teaching or making a lesson plan, is to align one of the evaluative criteria in our learning objectives. There will be a relation or making a connection between our criteria towards our learning objectives. Now, the second is ensure evaluative criteria can and will be taught during your instruction. Now, one of the important is that our uh, conveying our criteria is must be on, before, or during the instruction that the student might expect, or the student might have a time to prepare for themselves what things they might need to do during the task. Now the third one is select a few evaluative criteria as needed. So it is not necessary to have a few evaluative criteria so that there will be no any unnecessary, or there will be no another task or another things that the student might be could consider when making or doing the task for themselves. Now the last one is after designing your rubric, use the rubric for rubrics to assess if you have include all the components of a strong assessment tool. Now this is also one of the important thing in in considering making a rubric. Now we have to design. After we design our rubric, we must consider of making another rubric for our rubric, that we may consider that all of the components, all of the matters that we may include, especially making it more effective towards a student, is to find or is to consider another rubric, so that the scope of our activity might be productive towards our towards the student. I think that would be all. Thank you.
Magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Ako nga pala si Binibining Angela Isoldea at ngayon naman ay aking itatalakay ang steps for developing performance tasks. So, una nito ay ang identify learning objectives. So, bilang mga guro, kailangan nating malaman o matukoy yung mga objectives na ating gagamitin. Halimbawa na lamang kung nais natin na magsulat yung ating mga mag-aaral pagkatapos ng diskusyon, ay isusulat natin na nakasusulat ang mga mag-aaral ng ng halimbawa wakas ng maikling kwento. Ibig sabihin na ang specific na layunin na yan, ayan yung inaasahan natin na mangyayari o magagawa ng ating mga mag-aaral sa pagtatapos ng ating magiging talakayan. So, sunod naman ay determine the task format. So, dito naman ay magde-decide tayo kung anong uri ba ng performance task ang ating gagawin o ano yung mas naaayon sa ating learning objectives. Maaring ito ay maging isang presentasyon, project, experiment, debate, o written report at maging demonstration o ano pa mang uri ng performance task. Kagaya na lamang ng aking binigay na halimbawa ng isang layunin kanina na nakasusulat ng wakas ng maikling kwento. So, dapat sa performance task o yung uri ng performance task ay nasa written. Tapos ay sa bahaging iyon ay kailangan talaga na magsulat ng sariling wakas ng kwento ang bawat mag-aaral. Maaring ito ay nasa individual o nasa uri ng o maaari din silang ipapangkat sa kung ilang pangkat yung gusto ng guro. So, sunod naman ay design clear task instruction. So, kailangan natin na mag-provide sa mga estudyante ng detailed na mga instructions para malaman nila kung ano yung gagawin nila at kung paano ito gawin at kung anong mga materyales ang kanilang kailangan na gamitin. Kailangan na specific yung requirements tsaka yung deadlines at maging yung expectation. Halimbawa na lamang kung pasusulatin natin sila, dapat alam nila kung hanggang saan lamang sila magsusulat. Halimbawa, bibigyan natin sila ng 10 minuto para makapagsulat ng kanilang sariling wakas ng kwento. Sunod naman ay ang create a rubric for assessment. So, kailangan talaga na sa bawat pagpapagawa natin ng mga performance task, kailangan talaga natin na magkaroon ng isang rubrics. Diba, kagaya nga ng naitalakay kanina na meron tayong 4 na uri ng rubrics. Ito ay ang analytic, ang pangalawa ay developmental, pangatlo ay holistic, at ang isa ay yung checklist assessment. So, kailangan na sa pagbibigay natin ng mga gawain, kagaya ng pagsulat, kailangan nating magkaroon ng isang rubrics para mas ma-evaluate pa natin kung nang maayos kung talagang yung ginawa ng ating mag-aaral ay naaayon at sa ating tinalakay at maging sa ating layunin. At kung ma-hit ba talaga ng mag-aaral yung kung ano yung nais nating ipagawa sa kanila. So, next is make the task authentic and relevant. So, kailangan natin na mag-design ng task na nagpapakita ng real-world situation o mga problema. So, kailangan ito para tulungan ng ating mga mag-aral na magkaroon ng kumbaga yung relevance sa kanilang natutunan sa ating mga pagtatalakay para magkaroon sila ng motibasyon na magkaroon ng interaktibong pagganap sa ating mga pagtatalakay at maging sa anumang uri ng gawain. So, kailangan na sa bawat mga activity o performance task, kailangan na maka-engage o maka-interact talaga yung mga mag-aaral nang sa ganun ay talagang malalaman talaga natin kung meron talaga silang natutunan sa ating mga naitalakay. Susunod naman ay allow for student choice and creativity. So, kailangan na bigyan natin ang ating mga estudyante ng like kung ano yung gusto nilang gagawin o kung meron ba silang suggestion kung ano yung mas gusto nilang gawin para naman magkaroon sila ng individual expression. At kailangan din na bilang maguro, kailangan nating maging open sa kanilang mga suggestion. Sunod ay provide support and resources. So, ensure students have access to the necessary resources and support to complete the task successfully. So, kailangan natin na bigyan ng suporta ang ating mga estudyante, kumbaga, halimbawa na lamang sa pag-provide ng mga research materials, technology guidance, and also feedback. Para naman nang sa ganun ay kung meron pa silang mga kulang ay maaari natin silang matulungan o ma-improve pa yung kanilang ginawang pagsusulat, mas ma-improve pa natin ito sa ating, lalo na kapag bibigyan natin sila ng feedback. Sunod ay provide support and resources. So, ensure students have access to the necessary resources and support to complete the task successfully. So, kailangan natin na bigyan ng suporta ang ating mga estudyante, kumbaga, halimbawa na lamang sa pag-provide ng mga research materials, technology guidance, and also feedback. Para naman nang sa ganun ay kung meron pa silang mga kulang ay maaari natin silang matulungan o ma-improve pa yung kanilang ginawang pagsusulat, mas ma-improve pa natin ito sa ating, lalo na kapag bibigyan natin sila ng feedback.